Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight, the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. I'm Alexis, joined this week by David Francisco, Alexis Moreno, and, of course, Peter Martinez. Only one person. Only one person could come here. What? What did he say?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna start again because that was weird.
Oh my god.
No, okay. Welcome back,
stop
everyone.
interrupting!
Thank you
Just
for
keep
finally
going.
saying that. I can never get through a fucking intro with you on the show without you interrupting me. God, now I know what Kyle went through. Seriously. Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight.
Wait, speaking of Kyle, did you see? Did you see that he posted something about the trolley?
Yeah, he said the trolley.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell somebody to text back. There's no trolleys in Brawley.
You could have. I'll do it right now.
Are you really doing it?
I would do your intro now while I'm distracted.
Okay. No more interruptions if we can. God, that wasn't even 30 seconds. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm Alexis, joined this week by David, Alexis Moreno, and, of course, Peter. This is the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. And, you know, it takes a lot these days for all four of us to be on the same show together. And it seems like Nolan, he pulled it off. He got the four of us to be back on the same podcast since the time we talked about The Brutalist and Captain America Brave New World, which, I don't know, something happened with that video that was corrupted. So here's hoping that doesn't happen again for some strange random reason, because that would be really weird, because that hasn't happened since. Actually, did
That
happen one
episode
time.
never came out?
It did come out as an audio only, but the video, something happened. David didn't explain. It said it was corrupted, and that was it. I don't know why that happens sometimes, but yeah.
I don't remember, but okay.
No, but that's what happened. Anywho, obviously today we are going to talk about the latest quote-unquote masterpiece by Christopher Nolan. This is his adaptation of the Odyssey. All of us have now had the chance to see it. Some of us were actually quite privileged to see it several times. One of us perhaps may have only seen it the once, but that's okay. You know, we're just trying to do our duty as, you know, fans of cinema. We're obligated to see a Nolan film as many times as we can, and so we did. So today, our podcast will be entirely devoted to that here on Red Spotlight number 545. Okay. So, first off, I'm glad to see everybody here at once. It's a little strange, to tell you the truth. It's been a long time. It's really weird, actually.
Yeah.
I know, it's a bit of a departure from our recent, I think, endeavors. But I think it's nice to use this as a bit of a reunion, because always when Nolan comes back with a film, hey.
It was an Odyssey.
It was,
if
absolutely.
You will.
There's a lot to say about the film, but I think the best appropriate place to begin with would be for Peter to go on his phone, go to our sponsor Letterboxd, again, until it is bought out by a Sam Altman type, and then we're all
That's
kicked
every
off.
company ever.
Yeah, at this point. Go watch Devil Wears Prada 2 for that, because that's literally what happens in that movie. For our obligatory sponsored description of The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Defy the gods. The Odyssey is a mythic action epic that adopts Homer's foundational saga, starring Matt Damon. That's all you need to know. Okay.
Wait a minute. There's a lot of people in this movie. There's way too many actors. There's a lot of actors.
Talk about the minorities. John Leguizamo, Charlize Theron, Travis Scott, Robert Pattinson, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, and Himesh Patel.
They really like to talk about Travis Scott.
Who does?
There's more people in this movie than that.
Like Zendaya wasn't even mentioned.
She didn't mention Zendaya. Didn't mention Samantha Morton.
She wasn't here. Hold on.
You have to keep. There's a lot of people in this movie. It's a huge cast.
Oh, Elliot Page. Oh shit, I forgot.
Lupita Nyong'o.
John Bernthal. She's like at the bottom. Benny Safdie. I have to scroll down. John Bernthal. I have to scroll down. Like, I thought the bigger names were at the top. I am Lupita Nyong'o. I still have not gotten.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is he at the top? I mean, maybe it's like
Travis Scott.
Yeah.
I think. Well, he was at the top in the credits because he did it in order of appearance, and he's the first person that we see in the film. But that's in the credits. I don't know why Letterboxd would put him in the top.
Yeah, I don't even see where the.
You don't see
Zendaya?
There's
Zendaya. She's above John Bernthal. Okay, yeah, all those people.
Did you mention Pattinson, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because that's kind of a big one to do. Okay, a couple of things, because it's a big film, but a couple of things that need to be, I think, parsed through, which is Nolan and then also the Odyssey. We'll begin with the story. Look, this is one of those things where I think it's quite interesting because, this is a pretty ancient text, or so they say. I will say, right off the top.
Conspiracy theorist now?
No, it's not that. I'm just...
You sound like QAnon. So they say.
I'm really curious to see what everyone's relationship here has been with this text and this story. Because I will tell you, I had no idea this existed until it was announced that Nolan was doing a movie about it. I'm very ignorant when it comes to Greek mythology. I'm really ignorant when it comes to whatever the Odyssey was. I had no idea what this even entailed up until a week before the release of the film. Even hours before we saw it, I was still like, so what's happening here again? I just knew it was like, oh, it's an epic and it looked good and it was based off this really old story. Come to find out, this has been one that has been like really kind of like infused in so many different like properties and stories that I may have already been familiar with. Some things did stick out, like, oh, there's a Cyclops. I saw, like, okay, this must have been a direct influence on Spirited Away, a particular sequence that we have here. And then I also heard that Arthur, the PBS kids show, did an episode about all this, which I must have missed, apparently.
They call a foundational text.
Yes. And, of course, I had no idea what it even is. So I'm quite curious to see what you guys... Yeah, I don't know. So you guys can tell me.
He went on and on. Okay.
You guys can tell me what previous exposures you've had to the story, and how your feelings were that this was being adapted by a Christopher Nolan. I'll begin with Alexis, since she is Alexis and David, who are the avid book readers.
I'd never read this story.
Boo, next.
But I mean, I had heard of it. I do know like some Greek mythology lore stuff. I've read the first 2 Percy Jackson books.
Disgusting.
But that's about it. I know more about the Iliad, or like a little bit more. But this one, I knew the basics, but I didn't really know like what the story was about or what it was trying to say.
So for me, I read or listened to both listened and read the Percy Jackson books, specifically the Sea of Monsters. That's basically a retelling of the Odyssey. The main character goes through the same things that Odysseus went through, and they even gave out some details about the Homer story and all that. Like I didn't go about it with in this one, but I always knew about the Cyclops asking for Odysseus' name. He says nobody. And then later on, when he gets stabbed in the eye, he tells the other Cyclopses, the other Cyclopses tell him, like, who hurt you? He goes, nobody. And it's like, nobody hurt me. And they're just kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. That's always been like a funny thing for me to know. But other than that, I've always known about the story. Like, I've always known about like the grand adventure of him returning home and the types of monsters that he faced. But I never really never really read or saw a story about it until Percy Jackson, which was like about 6 years ago now. So there's that. And then when I saw him, Nolan was making a movie about this, I was mainly curious about it, I guess. I always figured that he would try to I was always curious about how he would try to capture those certain moments and all that, and I always knew that was going to be like as realistic as possible and all that, and that was always going to be the interesting thing about it for me. As to how the heck he was going to tackle the story, I kind of had no idea what he was going to do about it. I don't even know if he was going to do well on it. But once I saw the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually the best version that he can do. And I rather enjoyed it. So,
Peter.
I even when I was a kid, I really loved Greek mythology. So I had a pretty good understanding, at least with the most well-known gods and stories of that. Troy. I remember watching Troy when I was younger. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of cultural osmosis. I've always known about the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, the story, took 10 years to get back. The suitors, the Cyclops, shit like that. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of talk about how it is such a foundational text that it's taught in schools. Did anyone actually read this in high school? Because I don't remember this at all.
I don't ever remember us reading anything about Greek mythology and
that.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall us reading anything.
Because we live in California, where they don't let good white history be taught. So
I mean, we had our English classes were so had a hard on for William Shakespeare, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of Shakespeare.
Yeah, and I remember
a lot of John Steinbeck.
Who?
Of Mice and Men.
Oh, that one. Okay, I'm not good with
East of Eden.
You can tell me the
I guess that's kind of sad. The most similar thing in a way is Narnia. I know we read Narnia.
The only thing I remember reading in high school that was because we had a English teacher that made us read AR books, and I hated that. In when we were in 10th grade, were the Hunger Games books, and those I read quite extensively to get us, because they had a lot of points back then. But no, Julius Caesar sticks out. Yes, Julius Caesar sticks out. Romeo and Juliet obviously sticks out because that's, you can talk about foundational texts. That is just one that always perseveres. But I don't remember too many others after that.
Yeah, I don't remember really reading a lot of mythological stories in school. We've always maybe talked of a few mythological people or creatures, learning about the gods and all that. But
I remember there was a point where it was Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
It was a section of, I can't remember what grade, I can't remember what it, but I do remember that being one time. I don't know.
Yeah. And never still.
I have no recollection.
I have no recollection of that at all. Yeah. And I think what's interesting in this case is that all four of the people in this call went to the same high school. So
at very different times.
At the same times. At the same times.
Very.
At least for 1 year, we all went at the same time.
Yeah, well,
so it's interesting seeing the different generations, and what they experience.
Yeah, sure. So that's really interesting. How that's one thing that I found out while listening to other podcasts, that apparently everywhere else in the nation, this is still taught in high school, and we never got it. So just to be clear about that, and that should give you like a little bit of insight into like what kind of education we receive.
Fuck you, Gavin Newsom.
I think he was the mayor of San Francisco at that time, to be clear. I don't think he was, that was a while ago.
Thanks, Obama. Sounds correct,
at least
right?
he was president. Yeah, I think that's correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anywho, what's interesting is, there was Troy. But Troy, technically speaking, wasn't a direct adaptation of the story, now was it? I think it was more so the Iliad, right?
Yeah.
Which is the other component. Did we all see that? Peter, you said you saw it and that you enjoyed it.
Quintessential TNT, Sunday afternoon viewing.
Yeah, it very much is that. I didn't catch it on that. I obviously was watching the Odyssey the last couple of weeks, and so I hear this other movie that's kind of related to what was going on, and I watched it, and then when it ended, I'm like, well, obviously there was a lot of liberties taken with either Nolan or Peterson or whatever happened, but like, because there's some inconsistencies, obviously, because it's like, everyone's doing their own thing, but like, let's just say a character
I
dies.
pictured it. I haven't seen the Troy movie, but I picture it very like bro dude film where
it's a dad movie.
It's not a bro film, it's a dad film. Those are two very different things.
Yeah. Okay, David,
stop hating men for 10 seconds.
Whoa, we're not there yet. But like, what is the key distinction between a bro film and a dad film?
Dad films, there's not like there's more like historical significance to them. It's not all like, masculine and like, I think 300, there's some overlap. You can argue dad film, it's more bro film, whereas Troy is more dad film.
Bro film is like, people usually use that for like more artistic type of movies. Like I always hear Fight Club is a bro, like movie bro.
But would you consider the Odyssey a bro film?
Odyssey?
Would the Odyssey be a bro film? The film bros love it, so would that by definition mean that it's a bro? It's that's the thing. I feel like that the jury's out on that one. But Troy was interesting. It was helpful for at least me to get a better sense of like, okay, the Trojan War.
The war, yeah.
Yeah. And then also other notable figures that weren't exactly featured in the Odyssey.
What's funny is that film doesn't have the gods either.
No.
But it's a very different film.
I would say the Odyssey has way more gods than Troy. Troy, I think, it forgets to even exist.
Tries to be much more historical with it, more historically accurate. But that's much more of like less serious. Not less serious, but like...
Again, I haven't seen the movie. How does it treat the women?
What women?
I mean...
Just like barely any women in the movie.
They exist to be fought over.
That's the nature of the story.
I mean, that's literally the story. It's Helen of Troy.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. How does that movie tell her story?
Well, I don't know how...
Kind of a hoe.
Okay. My main
That's
thing
why I'm
is
saying it's a bro film.
The movie lost me within 5 minutes in a way. Not lost me in like, well, this is awful, but Orlando Bloom plays the younger brother of Eric Bana, who are like the two main princes of Troy. And the film starts with them declaring peace with who ends up being like John Bernthal in this movie. But then what happens is, as Peter said, the wife Helen did not care to be there, and so she escaped with Orlando Bloom, and they started a war. And immediately I'm like, cool, you just wrought the destruction of civilization because you were horny. Great. Wonderful way to begin the film.
That's literally the story, though.
I know. I'm not criticizing the story.
Does the Troy movie, does it talk about that? Like,
she's a central character, yeah.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the war. Like, does it deal with the war the same way that it does in the Odyssey, or is it like, oh, we
Troy
need to fight back?
Is the story of the entire Trojan War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it begins with the Helen of Troy kind of fucking off, right? To
Troy.
To Troy, and then it's like, oh, the sons of Troy stole a king's wife. We're going to war. And then it tells the whole 10-year war, and then it ends with the Trojan horse and the sacking of Troy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the question Alexis is asking is, does the movie Troy have a point of view at all? And if it does it really have the same point of view that Nolan treated with the Odyssey as far as its point of view on war? I didn't get
is that what you're
to tell
asking?
you the truth. Oh, yeah, that's what she was asking.
I needed a man to say it.
Wow. See, I think that was far worse than what I said that was cut out from the last podcast, to tell you the truth, but it's okay.
You cut something off? I didn't know that.
We'll tell you about it off screen. It was funny.
Okay.
At least I thought it was funny, but it's...
Okay. Was it requested to be removed?
Everybody made a mutual decision to take it out of the show.
Oh, wow.
Like, no one was
Okay.
like, yeah, so...
Wow. All right.
But that, I think what you just said is far worse, but, you know...
Is it really?
Especially with the...
I was making fun
really...
of you because you mansplained. It was satire.
You didn't understand, okay, she was asking you, did Troy have the same contemplative nature and the ideas of what war means for society the way that Odyssey had? And it doesn't. Not at all. That's what she was asking.
Yeah, the answer is no. Yeah.
I'm not even sure Troy even pretends to do that. Like, it's more so just like, it comes across less of a movie in like what its themes are and more of like a historical reenactment. I think there's some really quality filmmaking in Troy, but I do think like if you're watching it after the Odyssey, for me personally, it does come across as a bit shallow.
Yeah.
It's old-fashioned like Hollywood movie making, which looks great on screen. But it does, it's kind of just bullet points of like, this is what happened. Like there's not much below it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, though, before Wolfgang Petersen took that project, Nolan at that time was looking seriously into doing it, but then it didn't quite work out. Okay, so Wolfgang Petersen apparently was at the time developing, of all things, a Batman versus Superman movie. And so that was
that fell through.
Yes.
So he said, "Fuck you, I'm directing Troy." When Nolan was supposed to do it, so then they said your consolation prize is Batman Begins. To Nolan.
Dang.
Well.
So, and the world was never the same after that for a lot of reasons. So it's a really interesting relationship when you kind of track this through. But in general, Troy, I think, is a pleasant watch, but I do feel, though, that it is very one-dimensional, and it's not really, I think, going for much more than just, hey, here's another element. Odysseus is in the movie played by Ned Stark, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, Brad Pitt is kind of fine in the film with Achilles. It's mostly about him
phoning it in.
He really wasn't he? He didn't care to be there at all. That's what I found.
It almost works though, because that's kind of his character.
Yeah. As soon as you say he's phoning it in, I'm like, well, isn't that really what Achilles is doing? Like, he's just kind of like, all right, I'm here bored. In the fight.
I guess.
Please, someone kill me in this fight. I want to die, as a hero.
I think the one who's really did a good job, I think, was Eric Bana as Hector. Yeah, I think he was absolutely.
I agree with you there, and I think the film will come back in conversation tonight when we're talking about some issues people might have had with the lenses or the use of the camera or the angles or the shots themselves with the Odyssey. So that's Troy. Okay, and I'll use this bit to then get to the other element, which is the history of Christopher Nolan. In general,
he was born in 8.
How do we feel about him and his movies? because I think it's really because he is obviously like the most influential filmmaker of this century. He's built up such a following. Some would say cult, and it is kind of a cult. That whenever a film comes out, it's like the whole
there are worse
world.
cults out there.
I'm not gonna say that they're not, but a cult it very much is. So when his films come out, the whole world revolves around them. Is the point that we've gotten to. I will say, one of the first ways to kind of like parcel it out, I'm gonna cut this sliver out before we get to the rest of the filmography. But how do we feel specifically about his Batman movies? Because we all love Batman here. I think I'm talking to some of the biggest Batman fans on the planet. We all really love what Matt Reeves has done with the Batman, but you know, we haven't really talked about Nolan's Batman movies in a minute, and they are without question one of the most influential films ever made, especially of this century. So I want to just go around. I would just say for me personally, I really enjoyed them in general. I really like Batman Begins a lot more this year when I rewatched it for the first time in many years. I forgot how wonderful of a setup it is as far as this character is concerned. And I, of course, can't say enough good things about The Dark Knight, which is still one of the best films ever made. Still probably the best comic book film ever made to this very day. Dark Knight Rises, I thought was hilarious in not a very intentional way. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it is one of the funniest films I've seen maybe ever, because I don't know what the hell is going on in that movie. I think it's kind of a clown show, but it's kind of going for it, even though it doesn't know what it's going for. And I thought, but that I think should just tell you that he was already like over it and moving on to other things at that point. So unfortunately, that last film really kind of brings it down. But it had impact. I mean, everybody knows Bane. You know, Kyle has been on this show many times using the Bane voice, so there's that, you know, for whatever that's worth. But obviously, the tone of his films heavily influenced what Warner Brothers wanted to do with their DC universe. And the story goes that Nolan, in an attempt to get the fuck away from WB, handpicked Zack Snyder to oversee the next 10 years of DC films, and we all know how that turned out. That's a real story. WB executives wanted Nolan to stay on as a role to develop DC films, and Nolan was like, nope, no. But here's a name, and you can use him. And Zack Snyder
had no idea about that.
And ended up doing 3 films: Man of Steel, BVS. Well,
he produced Man of Steel. Christopher Nolan.
Nolan was a producer in Man of Steel, though I'm not sure. Well, yeah,
he probably didn't do shit except give them Zack Snyder.
And then at the same time, Sony was no longer going to be doing a 4th Tobey Maguire film, and so they went up with Andrew Garfield. And at that time, they really were inspired. The tone of those, at least the first movie of Garfield Spider-Man, was influenced heavily by Batman. And then, of course, we have so many other franchises that were influenced by those films in general. So I'll go in the same order. Alexis, your thoughts on his Batman movies? Do you care about them still? And do you care for what they have unleashed on the world?
Wow. I rewatched Batman Begins, and I remember I avoided that movie for years because it freaked me out.
Did it?
Yeah.
In what way?
And Scarecrow.
Oh. Okay.
And I finally rewatched it, like, it was like recent, and I was like, oh, this movie's actually really good. And then obviously The Dark Knight, I think, has been the movie that I've seen at the movies the most. I love that movie. I'll watch it anytime, any day. And then I didn't like the third one.
Yeah.
And then as far as like his other movies, I can't really say I'm like a Nolan fan. I haven't seen Interstellar. Oh.
Some people would burn you at the stake for that. Admission.
I've seen is it The Prestige?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Prestige.
I thought it was fine.
People again would burn you at the stake for that as well. I mean, I could say for all the movies I think he's made, people would burn you alive for saying that they're not perfect.
I can't think of any other movies that he's made. Is Memento a movie? I thought that was a show.
It's a movie.
It is a movie.
Okay, I haven't seen that. I do. That's like one of the ones that I do want to see though.
Interception? Inception.
Oh yeah, I've seen Inception. I saw it once, when it came out, like I saw it at theaters, didn't really understand it, didn't watch it again.
Yeah.
I won't even ask about Tenet. Dunkirk.
I've seen Dunkirk. Didn't really care for it. Yeah.
And Oppenheimer, which I think was.
Oh yeah, Oppenheimer's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. 2 out of like I don't know how many.
That's 3, right. Isn't it? All right.
3.
Whatever.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
2 that I liked. Oh, 3. Yeah.
And then Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Okay, David, you're next.
I really like The Dark Knight. Batman Begins I find it to be an okay movie. It's like an okay origin story.
This guy.
It's still. In terms of like origin stories of like every MCU superhero movie that we've seen, like it's for sure.
Get that trash out of your mouth.
Like of any superhero movie seen, like it's definitely top 5 for sure because like it's putting in everything of like important of Batman character, Bruce Wayne's character.
By the way, David and Alexis and Peter, when was the last time y'all watched Dark Knight? Because I watched that a few weeks ago, and I was. Did you remember how they referred to their headquarters as the MCU?
Really?
The police headquarters, they keep calling it MCU. They legit say MCU. Back to the MCU.
It's not GCU?
No, is it GCU?
I because Gotham.
Well, the subtitles said MCU.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember.
Which I thought was like really weird about that. But anyway, David.
Okay. So yeah, Batman Begins, I guess it's an okay origin story. And then Dark Knight Rises. It's fine. I remember enjoying it the first time I saw it. I mainly just like the idea of like Gotham City going into a war and all that, and you got like all those police, fighting the bad guys and everything. Like I don't know, just building up to that, I found it interesting. I know there's logistical things bad with it and all that, but that was when I first saw it. Looking at it now, honestly, I don't think I've ever rewatched it. I've rewatched Batman Begins and Dark Knight many times, but not Rises.
Probably a reason for that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Dark Knight though is like that one. Like as soon as I start it, I gotta sit down and watch the rest of it. Like it's not really one that I can just put it onto the side or something. So yeah.
We should also remind people that film really itself changed history because of that movie being snubbed at the Academy Awards. They changed their lineup from there being a maximum of 5 titles being nominated to now 10 titles. And so that's a big thing.
I don't know. I feel like that's why it also kind of... I mean, I don't know. Obviously don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I think that's why it also makes me mad that last one just like fell off so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It really did, yeah.
Because how could you go from that to... I don't know. That's crazy.
How do you go from the Joker to Bane? Is one thing, and
I mean, to be fair, that wasn't his fault, but the fact that the studio gave him years to like work on it, do whatever he wanted, and that's all he could think of.
That's what we got.
I think some would say that he maybe should have just stepped away if he didn't care to do it anymore. Because if you think of it, the timeline is this: Dark Knight 2008. In 2 years from then, 2010 comes out Inception. 2 years later, 2012 is Dark Knight Rises, and then 2 years later is Interstellar. So obviously, I think his mind was on other things. Probably more so Inception and Interstellar than it was on Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peter will say the same. I think that Dark Knight Rises, might very easily be just like the closest he's come to making a bad movie. Like the only way I enjoy it is if I view it as a comedy, which is not good. Generally speaking. Okay, David, where are you on the other films like Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, Oppenheimer? There's also The Prestige, Inception. Yeah. Oh, and Memento.
Yeah, I never seen Memento. Inception, I saw it once. I'm like Ale, confused by it, and just never really cared for it afterwards. I did watch The Prestige, and I really liked that one. I really liked the characters, their challenge of trying to perfect their art and all that. It was really, really interesting. Interstellar, I enjoyed. I need to rewatch it. I feel I haven't seen it since the first time I saw it. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that one. Dunkirk, I also really enjoyed. I know you guys don't really like it much. I just kind of, you said it, Alexis, sort of like I just vibed with it. It's just seeing a sequence of events, and I enjoyed it. I don't know. And what was it? Oppenheimer. That one, like filmmaking wise, is for sure his best movie. I think he did a fantastic job of like showing that character and his struggles. What he created and all that, and just also from a filmmaking point of view, there was a lot of mainly just the sound design that I really liked. I always go back to the chains that you hear when the bomb like leaves and everything, and how that keeps going throughout the rest of the scenes and all that. I just found that to be fantastic. I feel like I'm missing Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk.
There's Tenet, which I think nobody watched that here.
We skipped it.
Yeah, we all skipped it, and we'll get to that in a minute just there. There's also his first film, Following, which I'm not sure anybody else has seen here. There's also Insomnia with Al Pacino and Robin Williams, which, again, I'm not sure if anybody else has seen here. All right, Peter, you're next.
You know how I feel.
I may know that, but nobody else here,
I don't.
I think, would exactly so.
I really like a lot of his films. I think he's getting better as a filmmaker. I like his most recent films the most.
Mm-hmm.
Save a couple.
Save some of the more recent ones. That's a bit of a dichotomy there.
Well, but it's the issue is in their pun intended Inception. I love Batman Begins. I think it's really, really good. I think people sleep on it because of how good The Dark Knight is. But Batman Begins, it's very, very good. Dark Knight, I mean, it's a modern classic. It's great, fantastic, awesome. I don't like The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's a bad movie. I think it's a genuinely bad movie. We talked a lot about this, me and Alexis. It is very confused. Mm-hmm. It feels like the last movie. It was the last movie Nolan had to make. Like there was the last movie where there was an obligation, where it's like, yeah, I gotta make this one. His heart wasn't in it.
No.
I don't think it was good.
And to be clear, what I find funny about that film, just real quick, is the fact that it simultaneously has a very funny and weird and also just confused, and I think both are executed quite disastrously, mind you, but it has a very anti-Occupy Wall Street message, and it has a very and it's all if it's a message, it just has elements that feel very much anti-Occupy Wall Street, and then it also comes across as like a Blue Lives Matter wet dream with the cops forming a militia, and it was a weird, confused allegory for if it even was allegory of anything.
There's a lot of allusions to like A Tale of Two Cities. There was something there he was going for. I just don't know what it was. It just doesn't make sense to me. We were talking about how to make that movie better, because so much of the plot is confused, because it's like everyone's apologizing because they locked up all the bad people, and it's like why are they acting like the great sin of what we did, and it's like, you mean making the city awesome? Like the city's cleaned up. It's at the very beginning they're literally bragging about how there's no fucking crime in Gotham, and it's like, well, then why do they want to destroy Gotham? I thought the whole point of the League of Shadows was that they destroy bad cities, and it's like,
I never understood it. I feel even when it came out, like, I don't know. I feel like our understanding of movies now, like, it's so, like, we want them to be deep. We want them. That one, I did not understand anything.
It also didn't get a proper discussion because there was a mass shooting when it came out too, if you recall.
It was that one?
Yeah.
It was that one where there was a midnight screening and it forever changed midnight screenings because there was a shooter. I think it was Aurora, Colorado.
Wasn't it The Dark Knight?
No, it was The Dark Knight Rises.
It was Rises.
Really?
And then
what is it? Is it Aurora shooting?
Aurora. 2012.
Really? Because didn't the guy go dressed up as a Joker?
Well, that's why it was.
Yeah,
people.
Well, that's why because it was.
People found that weird because it was like he's not in this movie, dude. And so like, why did you dress up as a Joker?
Oh my god! Also, I always thought it was.
It was always Rises.
The Dark Knight.
Also,
shit.
Everything you guys brought up about the movie, do not remember it. So I think I should tell you how much I didn't care about this movie.
I think the part where I was like, "Yeah, I don't fuck with this movie," was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character revealing.
No, that was legitimately awful.
I was like, "You're joking."
That was awful.
That was one of those things where he included it because it felt like he had to, but he had no idea what to do. His whole character is unnecessary.
I remember leaving that theater like pissed off.
That was awful. The whole thing with like Talia al Ghul was, and the whole thing with the whole thing. Look, there's it was a funny. That was a funny death. There's like the way she fucking just keels over, and then it cuts to the other three. Like anyway, whatever we were doing.
I think even the actress herself was just like, I don't know why the fuck I did it that way.
I know it was weird, but there's some legitimate like J.J. Abrams level like mystery boxes in that movie that I think were just disastrous. But real quick, what we were saying, Alexis, the whole mass shooting theme goes back to another Batman-esque movie. Remember how in 2019 the media was like praying for a mass shooting at Joker because they wanted to write articles about that? That was a very weird.
That was they were trying to that was like induced mass hysteria in the media. They really wanted a shooter. That was really fucking weird.
And they got away with it too, and no one
and then no one got shot, and they're like, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So that's Dark Knight Rises, and then the other films, Peter, in Nolan's filmography.
I really, really like Inception. It's not that complicated. He's in their dreams. They go down levels.
To be fair, when I watched it, it was my birthday, and I didn't choose the movie. I got like dragged away to go because they were planning something for me that I wasn't supposed to know. So I like had no idea what I was watching.
And they couldn't pick a better movie for you? Well, what else was playing at the time?
I don't remember.
That's a great movie. Whatever.
No, I mean,
I need to rewatch it because
I mean, for Peter, like I understood like the concept of it, I don't know, magic system, whatever. Yeah, magic system, whatever you want to call it, within the movie and all that. I just had no idea what the fuck they were doing. Like, why are they going in this person's dream?
An idea in his brain.
That's what I was so confused. It's like, why was it boring?
Have either of you two watched that movie since then?
No.
Okay,
that's why I need to rewatch it. Yeah,
it's not that complicated, guys. I don't think.
I'd rather rewatch it.
I saw it earlier this summer. It was not complicated at all. Inception, I don't believe is a masterpiece. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's very entertaining.
I remember just liking Interstellar, but I think it's grown on me since then. I think I really like Interstellar now. I hated Dunkirk. I was so goddamn bored. Have not watched Tenet.
Yeah. You told me that you were staring at the ceiling with how bored you were with Dunkirk.
I got so bored with it. I just didn't care.
I didn't care for the movie, but I absolutely despise it because people love it, and I don't know. That film.
If you're listening, if there's one thing that pisses off Alexis, it's people with a different opinion. So
well, it's just like when you're saying that something is the best thing, one of his best movies. I'm like, are you kidding me? That I think Dunkirk is legitimately unwatchable. It's not even like a bad film that I can kind of tolerate. It's just unwatchable. Watching it again, I think I'd rather hear like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch it again. I haven't watched Tenet, but Oppenheimer, I think, is his magnum opus. I think that's his best film by far.
Easily. Very easily, I think so.
Yeah.
I think including the one that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, yeah, I think, Well, I think some people might again, Alexis, you're not afraid at all about the arrows coming your way from the. Because people, you can't say bad things about Nolan.
So that's why you brought her on the podcast.
I didn't know her. Oh, please, back up for what? It's funny though. I thought myself as something of a Nolan hater, but after reading some opinions about even just this movie, I'm like, you guys are going a little too far even for me here. Because I don't necessarily like dislike. I think most of the films that he's made, except for maybe one or two, I think are actually pretty good, if not very good. Some of them are actually flat out great. I love Oppenheimer. I love The Dark Knight. Interstellar, I thought was actually much better when I rewatched it recently. And then there were a bunch of other films that they're not bad. I just don't quite care for. Like I know people love The Prestige. That one really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what it is. To me, it kind of like came across. Good. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Actually, it's a very well made film. I just there's some reoccurring patterns you see in some Nolan films, and I'm like, I do get, although I don't quite agree with a critique that he thinks of himself as high and mighty, and he's narcissistic, and he puts himself literally in all the characters in every movie. To an extent, sure, but I don't believe he's that. What's the right word? I don't believe he's that pretentious, and I do think he's much more humanist than people I think accuse him of being.
I think some people that hate him view him in a very weird way, where I'm like,
they kind of do. His earlier work is kind of like whatever. Like Memento is a very interesting movie, and you can tell how much that influenced. Although to me, maybe I just had an Inception effect, the way that Alexis and David had a reaction to that film. I wasn't confused by Memento. I was just very put off and annoyed. Not by like what it was going for, but it's legitimately like repeating scenes and scenes and scenes and scenes, and it was very grating for me. And I really do appreciate the role that Nolan has taken as far as like shepherding a lot of like being a caretaker of cinema, but I don't believe any of us should ignore what he did in recent years. I find it interesting how we're the only people that ever bring it up, that this man thought so much of himself in this movie that he wanted to release it in the middle of a pandemic. Not in 2021, but in 2020, with no fucking vaccine, when everybody was literally all shut down and dying around them. He forced WB to release this film in the middle of that summer. And then, of course, his cult flew to all the IMAXs around the nation because, of course, they had to see it in IMAX. Even remember that infamous photo of Tom Cruise in a ventilator mask, whatever it was, just to watch Tenet? Like, to me, I was very put off by the whole thing. And I recall reading a very scathing article about him and him doing that by a journalist whose own family was like devastated by COVID. And I think that was a very valid thing to write about. And the idea that Nolan did that to me to this very day is the reason why I think I will never watch Tenet. I just feel like it's just gross for me to ever see that because of that. Yeah. And the idea that most people have moved beyond that, I find abhorrent.
I think he seems like a pretty chill guy. But to me, I did think that was a massive asshole move where it's like it was the height of the pandemic and he was like ridiculously insistent
we're gonna to go bring to movies back.
Yeah. And it's like human lives are more important than your fucking time travel spy movie. I'm sorry. Like and he threw such a fucking fit over it. He literally left WB, even though they ate all the cost on that fucking movie.
He really did, and he's like, "Bye, I'm gonna go to Universal."
Even
it was like pissed off over it.
Yeah, and he got pissed off at them for putting their movies on streaming now, and it's just like that was your fault, dude. Like you put out your movie, you basically proved to them that was going to fail. That these movies are going to fail if they come out during the pandemic, and they felt like they had no choice. So
that's correct. Because at the end of 2020, I believe Kilar, at the time head of Warner Media, said they were going to release all 2021 releases simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max. And I think you can very much track the failure of Tenet as most responsible for that decision.
Yep.
So, of course, that really, I think, made him look really bad. And I still find it shocking how more people don't bring that up. And I'm not done yet, because then came the whole thing with Barbenheimer that still to this day rubs me the wrong way, which is like, okay, all of us beside him, he was the only person in the world that I think was bothered at the idea that his movie would in any way be associated with Barbie. So we all know the phenomenon of Barbenheimer. We all saw both films both days, as most people I would imagine did. And Oppenheimer broke records. It became, I think one of the first films of its scale, of its subject matter to make $1 billion worldwide, or actually not, well, shy of $1 billion. It was very close to it. But the idea that Oppenheimer wouldn't have performed as well if not for Barbie is false. And the way that he carried himself and the way that he would avoid even acknowledging that film's existence, and then also the way the Academy really just kind of backed him up on that, which is like, we'll give you 10 Oscars, you win all the awards, and then Greta Gerwig, thank you for existing, and we'll have Ryan Gosling perform I'm Just Ken, and that'll be it. And that whole year, and look, you can say the Academy was always going to do that, sure, whatever, but Nolan himself just being very weird about not acknowledging that his film didn't get to that level on its own is strange. And that, once again, revealed an element of his character that I don't care for. So
yeah,
that's why I keep being reminded of reasons for why. And then on top of it all, his slavishly loyal cult is, it's very off-putting. So that's just kind of like where I am with him. But the other more important thing I struggle with is like, I except for like 2 movies, I don't really love most of his work. So I'm like, I watch his movies. I think they're entertaining. I think they work for the most part of his films. But it hasn't been until in recent years, again, Dunkirk, Tenet, really not included in this bunch for me personally. But I do even more so love the themes that he's speaking to with his last 2 movies, Odyssey included, I should say. So I think that's where we are. And I think now we can get into our feelings on the Odyssey. And I'll start off with just saying, maybe not so much my feelings just yet, although I think the film...
Oh my God. Just say what you feel.
Well, it's great. I like the movie quite a bit. But at the same time, I really do actually like this film quite a bit. I am also really fascinated by the endless ways people find issues with it. I do think that it's not a perfect film, and I do think that there are some glaring weaknesses. Some pretty ironic weaknesses considering the IMAX of it all, and we'll get to that in a bit. But ultimately, I think it's what makes it work for me was like in the last half hour when it reveals to you, oh, this is what the movie is. And then, especially with how it ended, I was very taken with, oh, I see what this movie is and why it's what it's here to do. And I thought it worked very well. But I'm really curious to see where this discussion goes because, some people have some conflicting opinions about how well or not it adapts the material, and then also the episodic nature of some of the material it's adapting, as well as the camera movement or lack thereof, or the filmmaking choices, if you will. But I would just say that for me, I genuinely enjoyed this lovely ensemble. I love the characters. I loved seeing so many wonderful actors, even if it was just for a few moments, getting a chance to just like really like chew on that material. I enjoyed the wonderful visuals. It, to me, is the embodiment of cinema in where it really transports you back to an ancient time. I especially do love those stories where it takes you back so far in time where it makes you feel like you were actually there. There also in lies a bit of the hiccup, from a very existential point is like, oh, that kind of reminds me of what we're going through right now. And that's, I know, kind of the point, but then also haunting because, oh, okay, well, I guess that's happening too. Loved Matt Damon. He really is an amazing actor and carries your attention throughout the entirety of the film. Yeah. Ultimately, that's kind of where I'm at. I've watched this a few times now, and it improves. The pacing, I will say, does improve in the sense that I get why every cut was there and why we're flowing a certain way. But that too, I'm curious to see how people gel with on future viewings, which is if it goes by faster, it goes by slower, and pacing in and of itself is also an issue with some people as well. Anyway, the craft is amazing. It also just looks beautiful too. So that's my opening thoughts. Alexis.
I really like the movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much.
She's a dude, bro.
I mean, yeah, like it's really good. Everybody does really well. It looks amazing. I think I just have like issues with two characters. But I'm a little like.
Oh no! Don't worry. There's plenty of issues to come.
Like,
I've got mine.
Which I think is kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal, but like in my head, it's a little bit of a big deal.
Do you have some hot takes coming? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I've heard other people saying it. Well,
is it
I don't
due to
know about
characters' skin color.
No.
Oh my God.
I think yeah, I mean this is like, I don't know, it was really good. Like I think it's one that I would watch over and over again. But and then the issues that I have with the two characters, I don't know if it's like the story itself or if it's like the way that he presented these characters. One of them, I think for sure, is the way that he presented that character. So I don't know. I feel like I can't really say much until we get into spoilers, but I don't know. I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Oh, David.
Your master plan backfired, Alexis.
Did I not just say that I liked the movie? What plan?
You brought her in here to tear it apart. It didn't work.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, David.
I liked it. I think it was really fun. That ending is what you mentioned, like, kind of makes the movie for me. Like, you really do kind of. It throws a lot of information at you in the beginning, and especially some people have trouble with like going back and forward in time and all that. It never really bothered me.
That's every movie he makes. That's every movie Nolan makes. He's always like playing with time.
Yeah, every movie he makes, but then also just this one, like it transitions to it, pretty nicely. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's doing the common thing of like, saying one specific line, then like gives you the idea where you're going next and all that. I mean, but I like those. But everything that you're seeing with Matt Damon's character, you kind of got this lingering question of like, what the heck are you even trying to do here? And then gives you that answer in the middle of it. And then once you get to the end, once everything comes together, I thought it worked really, really well. My main complaint is the editing. I even had some of those issues in Oppenheimer. But this one was like more glaring.
Same editor, mind you. He's had the same editor since Dunkirk.
Mm-hmm. But this one was just more glaring with the editing, and I don't know if it had to do with the IMAX camera that he was using. I mean, I know he filmed Oppenheimer.
There's a good chance it did, David.
He did film Oppenheimer in IMAX also, right? And like, the
Odyssey, we should mention, is the first film to be entirely shot on IMAX.
Okay. So
and that will come back into play.
Okay, so Oppenheimer was, back and forth, I guess.
Maybe partially.
Yeah, partially. Okay, so then I can probably tell which moments were filmed in IMAX that bothered me, because I was noticing it a lot more in this one. But yeah, and then in terms of like what other people were saying about it, the one thing that like I never understood complained about is how people saying like they don't feel this movie is an epic, like how the story should be and all that. I never really understood that criticism, because like, I mean, the Odyssey is, a very old story that, has, basically withstood the test of time and all that. And that's the one thing people kept complaining about, is like, this doesn't feel like an epic story as it should be shown, because like when You see all the dangers and the war on Troy and all that. It's all it's never really a wide shot of the whole situation and all that, and so you don't really get a sense of scale within the movie. The thing though with me is that whenever I've heard people talk about the Odyssey, like it's never really, yes, it's an epic tale because of how old it is, but it's always been a personal story of Odysseus, of this man trying to get home to the love of his life and all that. And the biggest thing people talk about is when he meets her after so long and all that. And so I never really understood that criticism of like, oh, this doesn't feel like an epic tale. It's like, kind of isn't though. It's it's a personal tale of this man trying to get home and this type of decisions that he had to make in order to do that. And so, but that's what I like about this this movie specifically, is because it is a personal story and all that. So yeah.
All right, Peter. Opening thoughts.
Good. I like the movie.
No, it was really good. I really, really liked it. I think I said this after we saw it. The funny thing about Nolan is he has no idea how to fucking start his movies. They never start great, but they end amazing, and it was a great ending. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought Matt Damon gave a fantastic performance. Everyone was good, but Matt Damon was really, really good. Yeah, overall, I thought I really loved it. It's very quintessential Nolan. It has all his Nolanisms. If you have an issue with some Nolanisms, then we're gonna have some issues here. But overall, I really, really liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, I think Oppenheimer still is magnum opus, and it's his best film. Mm-hmm. It's funny, he's known for making these like big fucking movies, and his best film is about a bunch of scientists talking to each other in rooms. That's like the most exciting of his films, I think, and that's mostly what it is. And he's still like, here's certain Nolanisms. He doesn't know how to shoot hand-to-hand action.
That's a good place to start, because that's one of the things I've heard people contentious about, which is how he shoots action. Which is why I also wanted to begin earlier.
He's incredible at set pieces
about the Batman films themselves, because some people have highly criticized the action that he shot in those Batman films, and to this very day, people have been critical of that. Yes,
that's why The Dark Knight is amazing, because it's not about action.
Mm-hmm.
His he doesn't need to physically fight the Joker. It's all about set pieces, right? So the Joker sets up these scenarios, and the Batman has to like work his way out of it, right? Whether it's like the two boats, or him escaping the
jail,
MCU, you called it.
Yeah, the MCU.
Yeah. All that shit, right? Like him on the little bat pod writing down, all of that shit looks incredible. But then you get to The Dark Knight Rises, and he has to start like punching people.
That's kind of shit. Actually, it was not good.
He's no good.
Iconic moment where you see a guy in the background just going, but nobody's punching him. One dude just falls over, but no one punches him either. It's just like,
well, even that fist fight he has with Bane, I'm like, are you serious right now?
Yeah. None of it looks like it connect. Like he's just not good at shooting it. Here, there's not much like direct hand-to-hand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the sacking of Troy, sure, there's a lot of people in the background like shh, shh, shh. But it's not like the movie Troy, mm-hmm. right? Where you have like Hector versus Achilles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like we're very clearly trying to see some like one-on-one action. It's more about the set piece of it all.
Yeah, and by then
the set pieces are great. Mm-hmm.
But by then, though, the like sacking of Troy, it's supposed to be a slaughter. It's not supposed to be like an epic fight.
It's always been portrayed that way. Yeah, it's not these great. It's not a great battle. It's a
slaughter,
stabbing them in the night kind of thing. So all of that's great. So the only time it falters is also thankfully the best part of the film, which is the end. When he's taking on all the suitors. Because there is a couple of times where he's just kind of like, fuck, like just waving shit around.
Yeah.
But it also kind of works within the context because it is just one dude with like surrounded by 20 people and he's kind of like, shit, fuck. It doesn't work when you're Batman going again. And you're supposed to look cool.
Yeah. And
you can't turn your head and you're like, you're moving like Lego Batman, basically.
It's interesting because that ending, I mean, it's a hell of an ending, I gotta tell you. That ending gets me every time. I think it's a really amazing conclusion to all of it. And I do feel like, for so much of the film, I was really just wondering how people, would go along with it. David, you yourself said that Nolan was asking a lot of audiences to go with this story as long as it was. But when we get to that last hour, that last act, I mean, it really delivers so hard that you kind of don't even care. Which, I mean, look, if you leave them with a good ending, they're not going to care about the first couple of acts. And I do think it is always entertaining. But specifically about that final sequence, like, to me, I mean, my heart was racing. I was like, whoa. I mean, all of this with, Matt Damon versus the world. And I thought it was incredible. At the same time, I do see what people say that, yeah, the camera itself could have been elsewhere. But Peter also is correct that it does help that it is, I guess, from the framing of like one man versus everybody else. But I think that in and of itself speaks to perhaps a larger issue in this movie particularly, which is the camera being so goddamn tight. And really not wanting to back up in a lot of places.
I think that is a very salient criticism. I argue it ain't worth it to watch it in IMAX because it's not like the camera's going to pull out and show you some IMAX shots. Like, everything is just so, like, fucking close-up, medium, close-up, medium. I never get and I'm trying, like, I felt like I spent half the movie trying to like look past them.
That happened to me during the Cyclops. I was
yes, and it's like, can I get a good look? Can I see?
Like, where are you? Can we see you?
Matt Damon, fucking get down a little bit.
Yeah, look up, please, so I can look up too.
Yeah. And it didn't, and this is. But see, I think this complaint comes entirely from the IMAX cameras.
Yeah.
I think it was a cute fucking experiment. Gimmick. I don't think it was worth it.
No.
I really don't. I think it hindered his filmmaking ability more than it helped it.
It really is just not worth it filming in film anymore. Like, just go digital. You can work with a lot, but like, the only problem with it nowadays when people film in digital.
Well, to be clear, it wasn't the film part. It was just more so that it was the IMAX camera.
It was the
correct?
IMAX cameras. I think. Well, specifically the IMAX cameras, because there's.
Yes, that's the problem here.
The certain negatives that I have with the film, I feel almost all draw back to the IMAX cameras, because that same thing where it's like no wide shots, no sweeping shot. You look at Troy, massive battles, beautiful sweeping. It looks big. It looks like people are saying it's not an epic. It's because you need fucking epic shots in an epic. It needs to feel massive. And then
especially because, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the interviews, but, like, everybody talks about how, the sets were real. They went out on a boat. They actually did go into, like, a confined space when they were in the horse. I just feel like we don't really get to see any of it. We don't get to see the real world. We just see them.
It's too tight.
This.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like, no, and I think it's completely the IMAX camera, because every other film he kind of shoots Oppenheimer that way, but that's fine. It's a boardroom movie. But he doesn't have that issue with Interstellar. You get massive sweeping shots of space that like take your breath away, like the enormity of space. And the planets too.
You get more scale, I think, in The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is really great, massive overshot when they blow up the hospital, right? I'm like, God damn, they actually blew up a fucking hospital. Like, I felt that. There's a lot of like big shots in his other films, and here I have to imagine it's the issue of the IMAX camera. There's never a moment where they just are able to really pull back. The best you see of that is the ending with the sacking of Troy. That it did start to feel pretty big. You're like, oh yeah, they actually built out this city, and
but it took all the way until then for it to feel that way.
When he's walking to the blind guy's character's little farm, and then like you get like one shot of Ithaca, like.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
That's why it felt different when I saw that moment. I'm like, huh, there was Ithaca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's that. You know, interesting history here. Nolan is the first film director to really establish a working relationship, and kind of again another one of the ways that he changed film is incorporating IMAX into a more regular, part of the film world. And so The Dark Knight, I think, was one of the first films to have certain sections filmed in IMAX, and it's been, developing ever since then. And so, I mean, I think he really obviously loves the association with IMAX. I think he very obviously loves how it looks. Before we get more into the whole him wanting to do the whole thing and how that hindered the movie in more ways than what we just said, I will just say this, and I think this is an important just point of order here, which is ultimately how we feel about IMAX itself. Because we're obviously seeing online various different snapshots of people in those theaters. And noticing how different the aspect ratio is with obviously the IMAX versus just the normal, what would you say, ratio for the theaters. And I gotta tell you, in a way, I do feel like, well, we saw it in like quote unquote IMAX, Limax, whatever, the first time, and there's more image there, but in a very interesting way, I kind of preferred the standard projection of it when we saw it, Alexis and David, that second time, where it was just a normal screening, because
again,
Peter,
it's because of the way it's shot.
Yeah, Peter, you can say more about this, but like to me, it's just like, okay, so there's more image, but I do like framing. I do like, that part of the filmmaking process. And when I just see these pictures of like these huge screens, and I feel like something is lost as far as like the centering of the camera when like you just have this much more image, maybe not too much is lost, but I do also just feel like I'm not seeing that much of an added benefit. Peter.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm not someone that's gonna lose my shit over like IMAX and formats and stuff like that. If a movie's good, it bleeds through any format.
Absolutely.
Very true.
But that is, and I think we're gonna say more about this right now, but I'm glad to see that you guys basically all feel the same way about this element, which is the IMAX really got in the way here, because and I think editing. This speaks to you exactly, the editing here, because why is the film, which you can say it already is long. I would have preferred a longer cut, because in large part, if it meant getting longer shots, there are a lot of moments where I'm like thinking to myself, we could have sat here just a few more seconds and you just quickly cut to the next thing. And I'm like, it's because he has to fit this under 3 hours.
It's not only that, it's, and I'm sure you know this too, the cameras are so big and they take up so much, they can only run for 3 minutes at a time.
That is the biggest problem with mine, with what I had in it.
I kind of felt that too, where it's like there's certain scenes and certain things that it's just, if they didn't have that limitation, in my mind, they wouldn't be edited that way.
Mm-hmm.
They certain shots, certain other stuff would actually be given time to breathe.
Yep.
But because it's under the limitation of the, and that's why it's like, it's just not.
No, yeah, just like just use a regular
fucking camera.
Yeah, and you have more to do. You can do more in post too. I mean, best not to like rely on post to fix up your movie and all that, but something that the editing bothered me in this movie a bit. I noticed it in Oppenheimer, where there'll be times when two characters are talking, and they'll say a certain line, and the shot would just cut to the other person, and I'm always like, stay on them just like 2-3 seconds more. Like, I don't know, it's like they said something, they want to like show you how they felt about it, whatever information,
David,
and let us sit
the
with it.
scene you're talking about is that Emily Blunt scene with
Oppenheimer,
with Cillian Murphy, right? Yeah, when they're on the horses and they look over some kind of like view. That's where it keeps cutting back and forth with like no rhyme or reason as to why that's even happening.
Mm-hmm. And then I especially noticed it in the Odyssey in the beginning, where like as soon as they were done explaining or giving you some piece of information,
boom,
like
next
boom,
scene.
boom, yeah, next character talking and all that, and it just goes back and forth. And then, it bothered me when Odysseus was talking to Cersei, and like I would notice Odysseus, he'd be like right in the center of the shot, but like it's just him. But then it cuts to Cersei, and she's like off to the side a bit, and then there were some other shots where she's off to the side, and you see the back of Odysseus's head, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you doing it that way with her, but then with Odysseus, he's in the center of the frame? Like, you're kind of throwing it off, because it's always like you see the person in front of the camera, and you see the back of the head of the other person. And then when you go back to the other person, it's the same thing, but like opposite, that. And it kind of like when you go back and forth that way,
reverse shot.
Yeah. When you go back and forth that way, it seems more natural. But then, but he wasn't doing that in this one, and I'm just like, what are you doing here? And it must have been maybe because of, well, for one thing, the IMAX cameras are so big, the characters, they can't even see each other on it. He had to like rig up some mirrors so that they can actually seem like they're talking face to face, and it's just
That's
like you kind of fucked up the moment.
They like take turns in front of the camera.
Yeah, basically.
Like when they're doing conversation ones, yeah.
Yeah, and so like you just get it.
They're not both in camera.
If you had gotten a regular camera, you could have had both of them sitting together. You could have had both, two characters, really acting just better in front of each other and all that, and you probably didn't have to rely so much on like how to actually frame it so you can get a good shot of them, or actually like get the camera keep going. And then for a lot of these characters, I feel like you couldn't add much more dialogue to them other than just getting information about the story, because like in the beginning of it, all the characters' lines is just information. Like there's not really much to them as to like who they are, how they're feeling about certain things and all that. It's just all information. And a lot of that has to do because IMAX can only run for 3 minutes. And so, yeah, there was major problems filmmaking wise with this, at least editing wise, with this movie that really bothered me, especially on second watch. With that
I think
Cersei
with what we just said alone, I mean, look, there's more to say on that, but with what we already just said, I could definitely see a masterpiece 3.5 hour version of this, but I think it just got cut down. And look, there's a certain, like, let's just say like a scene is ending and then we cut to the next one where you feel it just like, this ended a few seconds too soon. Like there's this one moment I keep coming back to very early in the film, in that section you were mentioning, David, about like the beginning of the movie. And we have Telemachus, Tom Holland's character, on like one of the balcony like roof shots with Anne Hathaway, the Queen Penelope. And then he tells her, well, what if I could take the throne? And then she very quickly does a few facial reactions in a way that makes a lot more sense that, oh, she was rushed to do this. Because I feel like she could have like maybe taken her time for us to actually see her think. But she does it quickly because we need to move on to the next thing. There's not enough time to be captured in those cameras. So I can definitely see that.
I don't know. I don't know she's like one of the characters that I had an issue with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I mean, I guess, like, us talking about this, I guess it kind of makes sense. But, like, even then, I don't think that her character was, like, very well fleshed out. Like, I don't really know what her deal is. Like, I feel like there's different things going on with her. There's different things going on with her, and we don't really get, like, a clear, like, this is what it is with her. I don't know. And the other character I had a problem with was, I forgot the character's name, but Elliot Page's character.
Sinem.
Which is
character.
Oh yeah.
So
what
you
was your
basically
issue?
you had an issue with the female lead and then also the trans actor. Is that what you're saying? Peter, I'm beginning to think, did you bring her on here to unravel this conversation for those purposes? You know?
I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like that character kind of got didn't get enough screen time. And when you go to the fight at the end, I'm kind of like, it didn't need to be that long. We could have focused a little bit more on that character. We could have given Anne Hathaway maybe more things to say, like, in regards to herself. Then with Elliot Page's character, like, from my understanding is he's supposed to be, like, not like the perfect soldier, but just like this person with, like, optimism and hope, and that's like no.
What I got from
know.
What I got from it is he's like the most innocent, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
of the
that's
bunch.
that's the word, I guess. That, like, them dying is like his innocence dying in a way,
Well,
and
okay.
I don't think it was, like, very clear.
I think it's more about what he represents than him as a person.
Yeah.
I think he sort of represents
Sure.
the way
And
he sort of in his mind failed his people and his men.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of, actually, Alexis, what you said to kind of parse through, but I do think and I have heard other people have the issue where the film has to, like, cover so much ground and it gives you so much information, and it's very easy to get confused or not be entirely sure of what's happening, because I also, with every time that I've seen it, and I've also heard other people get confused. So the whole thing is, and I think just so we're all clear about this, I hope that, and maybe I'm wrong and you can correct me if I am, but
Wrong.
so when we first see the sequence where they're enlisting people, and we have Elliot Page's character and we have Robert Pattinson's character as young boys, initially, see, this is where I got confused. Initially, I thought Robert Pattinson, what we're shown is Robert Pattinson was voluntarily taking Elliot Page's place. But actually, that's not what happens. What happens is Elliot Page... What? No, Elliot Page actually was going to trade places. Well, no.
Yeah.
Robert
Elliot
Pattinson
Page
actually got picked.
Jesus. Okay. Robert Pattinson got picked. He then
Yes.
whispers to Elliot Page's character, basically
Take my
bribing
place.
him to
Yes.
take his place.
But, like, it was very weird, because I thought the same as Alexis. I'm like, and then
So when
I
you're
think-
first seeing that sequence, it feels like it's the opposite. That it's like,
Yeah.
Why would
the
you
one that
think
got-
that? Robert Pattinson didn't go to war.
Okay, well, at the end of the
He's
film,
there.
it's clearer. At the end of the film, it's
That
clear
was
what
clear
happens.
the whole time.
But when you're first being presented that information in the first half hour of the film, by the way, so much information's happening at that first half hour. But the way that
I got
it
it the
feels
first
like, okay, great, congratulations. But I do think it's fair.
It's built different, I guess.
Okay, fine. But I do think, but I don't know. It kind of like it gave off. I think it's there purposefully to throw you off a little bit, because then when we get later on in the movie, it kind of changes direction. as far as like what was actually happening. Because okay, we all agree that what actually ended up happening then is Robert Pattinson got picked, and he was a coward. He didn't want to go
from the very beginning.
Yes, exactly. So he didn't want to go, and so he was trying to bribe Sinom, Elliot Page's character, for him to take Pattinson's place. Damon caught them, but Damon misunderstood who was switching with who. Right? Is that what happened or no?
That's the part
I think. I think he's just kind of like, yeah.
I think because Robert Pattinson's character didn't get like punished. That's what was confusing me as to what was happening.
He got stabbed in the throat. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, in the beginning. She means in the beginning when he's trying to draft dodge. She's saying she didn't get...
It's revealed when he goes to the underworld. Sinon tells them that he had taken Robert Pattinson's place in order to because Robert Pattinson comes from a rich family, and he had promised that his father would be taken care of if he took his place. And he didn't keep his promise because he says the first soul he met was his father, who died in squalor.
Yeah.
So then he's like, you send the little stick back to Robert Pattinson and tell him.
That makes me even more. That makes me.
I was going to say Odysseus lets that happen because he feels bad about that. He understands a father's shame, which is what John Leguizamo says. Well, that's why he let it kind of like... David?
I'm confused because, like, okay, I know, yes, Robert Pattinson pays Sinon to take his place. Why did Odysseus okay that? That's the thing I'm confused.
It's kind of a dick. I don't know.
Because, like, he talks to...
I just don't think it was good. I don't think that whole thing with Elliot Page's character was well done.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
No, I'm just confused about Odysseus's, situation.
Men are men.
Wait, what?
I mean, it makes me more upset that the transgender actor was not... Their character was not well written. So, I don't know.
I support trans rights and wrongs.
I do too, and I want them to get great characters written about them.
I understand the confusion. I do feel, though, for me personally, I've seen it a few times, and I get what it's going for. Then, so let me just reaffirm the mentality on Odysseus's part to forgive that instance was
it's not to forgive it; it's just to allow it.
To allow it, basically, or to not punish Robert Pattinson at that moment was because a lot of boys are going to go to war, and he felt guilty that a lot of families are going to be broken. Is that what, in part, why he allowed it? That's
well, I mean, that was the whole
point. Presents it.
That was the whole point of the picking the straws or whatever the heck, because like he knew this war was going to be pointless, and like he felt bad if he had to choose, so he was just like, all right, fuck it, all the men who are of age, like, come here. If you get chosen, you're gonna go. And so, like, that's sort of his whole... That was the reason... That's the best way he can, like, live with his conscience as to who's going to die in this war. But it's just, again, I'm just confused as to why he allowed it to happen. Like, why did he allow this kid to pay this younger person to go to take his place and all that, instead of being like, no, you took the straw, you're going, that. It's so that's the only thing I'm confused by. I understood everything else afterwards, that like Robert Pattinson did not keep his word and all that, and so Odysseus took revenge for Sinon because of that.
Can I just
I'm gonna say something. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard of the viral musical epic.
The what?
The viral musical epic. It is a musical that tells the story of the Odyssey through music.
No.
There is a character on there and a song that in my head is Elliot Page's character. You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
And I listened to the musical after watching the movie, and it just like I was already very confused about that character, and then after listening to that, I'm like, oh, this is just not well done. Because, and then also because I think that he's like a big part of like his conscience throughout the movie, because that character keeps coming back, and in the musical they do that too, but again, this character is in the musical, he's very hopeful, like the war is done, he's the one that tells Odysseus like, hey, we're okay now, it's okay to like open up, don't stay locked up, don't stay the way that you were while we were fighting. And then spoilers for the musical, but also like we should know, that character ends up dying, and then the song that he sings is like always in the background of every song then on, because the song is so hopeful, and like that is kind of like Odysseus's reminder of like, I failed all these people. And I just don't feel that, like, we get the scene of like when he dies and we see his face, and obviously he's like sad about it, but like I don't think that it was well portrayed in the movie. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's definitely fair. What I have some questions about is I'm not certain about your issues with Anne Hathaway, with I guess Queen Penelope. Are you disappointed that the film didn't have much for her to do in general, or is just she's just a damsel, or what's
that one's the one that I'm like, I don't know if it's the movie, as like it might just be like the story that I don't know. I haven't read the story. I don't know like what, like, I mean, is she just like waiting for him?
That really is it. So? Like what you see in Epic the Musical is about what she does in the story. Like there's not much more to her, and so I think because he wanted,
I think he could have done like something interesting. Like it's cool that she's mad. She's fair. I don't know. I wish we would have gone a little bit more with her.
Okay. What I was wanted to say, going back a little bit to the whole camera thing, is, there's a lot of really cool technical stuff that we do happen to see, and I do want to just say I appreciate for the fact that so much of what we see in camera is actually real, how amazing and beautiful it looks, and how ridiculous it is that most filmmakers, especially hacks like Sean Levy, shall we say, no particular reason why he's on my mind right now, that will never do that and are so content with having a blue screen, all over the place. But I do feel that this is another instance where maybe he got in his own way with not wanting to use really CG at all. And maybe, I don't know, wouldn't it be funny if Nolan purposefully limited himself by having shot the entire thing in IMAX just so he wouldn't have to use CG, which I think is pretty funny if you think about that. That's the other thing in this whole thing as well, is not only is the camera so tight in there we can't like back the fuck up, but you could also say, well, if we do, he may have to actually go a different route than some of the technical, like with, as we say, with the Cyclops. Look, what is on the screen, I think works well enough, but I do think everyone here has said as much. It could have looked better if he had just been able to just not only get away from, the IMAX of it all, but his insistence on not wanting to use CG kind of, it's not a disaster. I will say, though, and this goes hand in hand with another one of his things, which is, his resistance of the fantastical. This is a story that features gods.
I think he did a little better, actually, than
I don't. No.
One.
I agree 100%, except in this instance. I do think that where it faltered was the whirlpool and that whatever spider monster rock creature, that I think looked hideous. He really should have.
What sucks is Pirates of the Caribbean did both those things way better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A whirlpool sequence and a fucking sea monster sequence. Those are like the quintessential, right? So this one felt like such an afterthought.
I'm sorry, it felt so lame to me. I think to me those could have been those could have been some really cool, memorable set pieces. Because at that point, so much is happening one after the other. Where I'm like, okay, cool. Then we get there, and I'm like,
there's the Nolan I know.
Exactly. And then I'm reminded of the very first thing. What do we see in the film before Travis Scott starts talking? It is a time of apparent magic. And to
that
me,
made me laugh when I saw that. I was like,
that's the thing where it made me laugh too, because like, oh, this is Nolan's way of justifying why some fantastical things happen in the story. It's not real magic, it's apparent magic. And then I'm like, there's the Nolan I know. And get annoyed by all the time. But no, that's where like, look, the Cyclops, okay. The second and third and the fourth with the sirens and the other huge soldiers and of course Cersei, that's fine. But when we hit that whirlpool and when we see that really, I'm sorry, lame monster, that's where I think it just fell apart in that Nolan, you are way too talented for this not to work. And it is your fault and your fault alone why this was kind of laughable. Did you all have that same experience, at least in that instance?
Yeah. It's kind of lame.
That's the one sequence where I was like, oh, like I got flashbacks to like The Dark Knight Rises. Like he didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, let's just have him.
Yeah. It's like you could tell he wanted to do the Cyclops. He wanted to do the Giants. He wanted to do, turning the men into pigs. The sirens. Yeah. The sirens was really cool.
Yeah.
I like that sequence. Some people had issues, but I really liked how we didn't really hear.
I think it was the most mystical, right?
Yeah.
I think it was really cool. I was a little worried about the underworld. I thought that's what he excelled at.
That was a really cool sequence.
Cool.
I enjoyed that one too, yeah.
The way they
who was the actor who was playing the blind guy that crawled out of the sand? The cool. Prophet, whatever his name was, or I guess the seer that gave the prophecy of what was going to happen.
Agamemnon, I always say
we all can't say it. It's fine.
Agamemnon.
He like floats to the front, like he doesn't walk. You can tell they got him on like something to like float over, like an apparition. And that's the one part where you could. No, not the one part, but one of the few parts where you could kind of feel the scale when they're running back, and there's like dozens and dozens and dozens of people, probably 100 or so, like running after them behind, and it's like, oh shit. I guess that's what's annoying, because almost every sequence I'm like, oh shit. I was impressed with the way he interpreted these more fantastical stuff. I don't like, a lot of people are like, they didn't include the gods. It's, to me, that's not like a big deal. But then,
well, can we talk about those sequences though? Because there were some really great. Well, I mean, in that whole section where it's like, I guess some people were critical about how episodic it was. That's the text.
That's the Odyssey.
Yeah.
But when we go from each one, there's some genuinely like horror-esque elements in those sequences that I thought worked very well. Especially the whole with Cersei. That stuff I thought was horrific. The way that, especially the first transformation, I had to look away. I was about to throw up with some of that stuff that was going on. With like them, like, I don't know how that was shot, but then like swallowing that food and then her like.
It looks like it was like reverse.
Swallowing the food was crazy.
Yeah, I think
but
it was
also
reversed.
turning them molding them into pigs. That also was just hard to look at. I'll tell you the truth.
In my mind, when she like slammed her fist down his throat, I was like, Jesus Christ! Like he really went for it, right? And Nolan, he could have just like panned away, panned back. They're all pigs now, right? Like very boring.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, you're gonna see them fucking mold every part of it. So that I was really impressed the way he
and it's kind of funny that he like went for that one specifically.
I just remembered another negative. Go
ahead.
This is a pretty big one too. It's in that same sequence with Cirque when they're doing whatever, like they're eating and stuff, and then Odysseus is like hunting the deer, and it's cutting back and forth and da 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 da, and it's like, holy shit, they're humans. Why did he have to have all that ass?
Okay. Anyways,
it took me out of. It took me out of the movie. It was a lot. I'm just saying I would have found someone with a worse ass to play that, because I was like. Are you
saying that it body shamed you? Is that what it is, or what was that?
I wouldn't say body shamed. I'm just saying it just took me out. I'm just like tense. Holy shit, I'm supposed to feel fear, but instead I'm not feeling fear. I'm not saying what I'm feeling, but it's not fear.
Right?
I'm just saying
Alexa's got that. Oh boy, interesting. Interesting things there. Cool. No, but genuinely, people keep referring to that as being maybe one of the best, if not the best part of the film, with Samantha Morton playing Cersei. Even like with what she was saying, because at that point, it really becomes clear, even though I guess like it's not top of mind, but with her sequence, it's like, oh yeah, these soldiers that we've been with the entire time, not exactly great people, are they? Because what happened after they sacked the city? Oh yeah, aside from just like flat out murdering people, there came the rape and pillage part too. That I'm happy.
I think that's like
was...
my favorite part of all the sort of revelations.
Oh, revelation.
When Anne Hathaway tells him you're the outsider.
The people from the sea.
I was like, shut the fuck up. That's crazy.
Well, I laughed early on when they got some dude like tied up with his house burning. And I was like, why didn't you welcome us? And it's like, I don't know. Gee, I fucking wonder.
Peter, this is actually a really interesting question I have for you. Because I think you're much more knowledgeable about these things, especially when it comes to this kind of mythos. But in just a little that I've kind of like been enveloping myself with the history of the nature of these characters, this text, and then also with this civilization falling very quickly, this Bronze Age, as they call it, there are a lot of mentions of the people from the sea. In historical context, that's from real. What I have figured out, it's real, but then there's a lot of mystery around them to this very day. We're not sure.
No one knows who they were. Yeah.
So how? Or I guess, it's a long time ago, but like, what could they have been? It's just a really weird thing. Like, they were blamed for society falling apart. The people from the sea. That's kind of creepy to me.
Apparently, they destroyed like all the major civilizations.
I mean, wouldn't it just be people? Wouldn't it just be the winners?
How could they?
But the winners are typically the ones to retell history. Who are the winners? Of course, they're not going to say they're the sea people.
No, but they usually do, though. Yeah. They take credit for it, and they say how great it is. They call themselves conquerors and let the world know how successful they are.
We do live on conquered
it's
land.
Like, look at it's the 4th of fucking July. It's like, yeah, we fucking won. Like, no one wins, and then it's like sheepishly like slides away. That's why it's like they came, they destroyed, and then they disappear. Like, there's no real understanding of who exactly they were. If they were all working in tandem, just what so it's interesting. But also, no one even really knows if there ever was actually a Troy or actually was a battle. That's also.
I think Troy. They did say it was like a real place, just like named something different, wasn't it?
They've said that they found what could be a similar structure in an area where it is similar to what it says, but there's like no real concrete.
Yeah.
Is it entirely fiction, or is it like historical fiction? You know what I mean?
One of the theories that I read, and you help me out if I have this correct, and I think this is what I'm reading into with what the themes of the film are. But one of the theories about who the Sea People were not necessarily a new entity, but a collection of peoples of all that were left behind through a collapsing civilization that kind of formed together to basically become pirates. And they were basically the result of society itself, just not having the thought to account for, the lesser than. There's the reason why there's so much of this film that focuses on beggars, right? But then also that the story of the ending of the Trojan War and just its nature of it being so underhanded and so against Zeus's law that it
destroyed
contributed
society's basically invisible chains that hold us all up.
If you will. Yeah, there's a guardrail of like we're all going to be in some sense honorable or decent, and then that act by Odysseus in the Trojan War broke the world and therefore led to the rise of the Sea People, which would then come and plunder every single remaining civilization. Do I have that correct? Is that more or less what was going on there? I think that's what it felt like to me.
I think to some of the Sea People, I think in this iteration, the Sea People aren't one organization. Right. It's just a general breakdown of societal norms. So it starts, I think the Sea People start mostly with the soldiers returning from war, and they're different now. And they no longer respect these societal laws, so they're coming, they're pillaging, they're taking whatever they want. But I think they also comment like it kind of spreads like a disease, where other people are like, well, if they're not, if this is the way shit is now, then. And I think that's kind of what it is. That's what it came
does it all matter? Type of thing.
It's just a general collapse of. Like, if we all go to like some restaurant, societally speaking, it's like, first one's there, we're gonna form a line, this benefits all of us, but versus someone like running into the kitchen, grabbing all the food and running out, like fuck, and just stealing, and so that's Troy was the ultimate trick. It was
like
the
having somebody watch in the line while the other goes to the bed.
It's so that's, to me, that was my takeaway of what that was. And again, it's so funny, like talking about Christopher Nolan. I think a lot of people, I remember a big complaint early on in his career is that he's a very cold filmmaker. There's not much. It's very clinical. There's not much emotion to what he's making. And what's interesting is I actually think there's a very funny through line you can see in his filmography, where he just kind of, his whole thing is he's just kind of completely lost faith in humanity. like you can go from something like Interstellar, where it's this, he's like, yeah, everything's fucked, right? But it's this, push towards saving society and like we can be better and that kind of stuff, to like Oppenheimer and the Odyssey, where it's like, wow, we really fucked it.
I know. I think it's kind of funny, like in this one, where he just kind of, and I believe it's in the text, where he just kind of leaves his son and is like, all right, good luck.
Well, did he? Or
My bad.
Is that a dying man's?
We'll get to that because that's a really interesting way that some people view it. But I do feel like, this movie and the last one are kind of saying, we broke the world. It's over. And if this iteration of civilization is ending, and a new one will rise, and it will forget the mistakes that we make, which feel very timely, but also just it feels timely for every time, because that's just what always happens. And I will say, I do really love the final shot of the film. I think it encapsulates the entire film. I think it encapsulates what it's going for. Just the image of the horse, the Trojan horse, burning as a basically, what do we call it, a metaphor for civilization burning in the context of the film. But maybe could it also be a mirror to our civilization coming apart at the seams and burning down? That spoke. I know, right? That spoke to me. I think that really is kind of what makes the film. That's the glue for me of this movie. I'm not sure how invested or interested I would be in and I'm saying that all the characters and the story working in service of that theme is kind of what makes this work very well. If it wasn't for that, I'm not sure how much I would care. Yeah,
I will say I ended up caring a lot more than I thought I did, because in the beginning it's like, okay, here Tom Holland playing another Tom Holland character. He's he's the son. Ooh, where's my dad? We get it. And so like in the beginning it's like, all right, okay, let's see some sacking of Troy, right? But by the end, I mean, I did care very strongly for, I mean, that's why that third act works so well. You know, everything with like Odysseus and the suitors and Anne Hathaway and even Mr. Holland of Tom himself. Like, it's like, okay, I care a lot more about this than I originally thought I did, because like everything I'm seeing, I'm like, oh hell yeah, fuck yeah. Also, John Leguizamo, I thought he was a big standout. I thought he was really good.
I think Nolan has a really wonderful rotation of actors, and with every film he always invites new people to join his ensemble. I think it would be cool if Nolan kept him on, because John Leguizamo is an individual in this business that I think has had, thankfully, a long career, but I always feel like because he got typecasted,
he's underutilized.
I think he got typecasted very early and has never really been allowed to move beyond that. And I'm very thankful for this, because I do feel it is of the level of a revelatory performance, where it's like, this is not the kind of role anyone would imagine Leguizamo having, and I thought he crushed it completely. I think in a lot of ways he can become the heart of the film, and I hope people discuss his name later on in the year. Not that it was going to win any awards, but I do think that this is a performance of his for sure to remember. I really enjoyed him and the role that character played throughout the film itself. No, he's really, really good in this movie. That being said, just because he is a much bigger star, Pattinson, man, the number of times he made me laugh in this film, which is interesting because, I mean, there are a few moments of humor throughout, very few, but I think mostly are all his. But he is just so good at playing weasels, man. From the very beginning, you see it in him. Yeah, it's going to be a sniveling little bitch. But I had no appreciation for how sniveling he would be until the end of the film, where at this point, I think it's just iconic. The way he's just like hiding behind a pillar and then commanding orders of other people. Get the swords, the spears, the shields.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah, it really is that way.
I mean, he really is.
I think it's the only moment that the close-up worked, because you're just like,
yeah.
No, yeah, he like, really is.
Odysseus is like frantically like, and then you just turn to him like, get the sword. No, it works good.
Yeah,
it works really good.
He really is.
Even by the way, real quick, the way that he, what was it called? God, the way that this film in general with some of these suitors, but like him. Can someone get these beggars out of here?
Yeah.
Like he was just so disgusted by them throughout.
Yeah. I'd say like he is really like cartoonishly evil in this movie, especially because like almost every line he says is just so manipulative. Especially when they have to use the arrow thing, and Telemachus gives him the bow, and he's just like, he already knows like, I'm not. This is just
my turn.
He waits his turn, but then also too, he's just like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Fuck that. And he goes, all right, we get it. You know, we're not Odysseus. We're never gonna be him. Just pick the ones who failed. You know, from the ones who like tried. You know, but like it's just, I just find it to be so funny too, because it's like, dang, you're like really manipulative, and actually like it could have worked, but yeah, Odysseus did return. So
in general, I really do enjoy Odysseus's character, even when he's being like needlessly arrogant and like stupid. Like when they escaped the Cyclops and he just had to sling one more arrow in him. When the Cyclops just let them go. Really, I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't have to, and he let them, and then he kind of like fucks over the entire crew at that point. But I do just love the genuine badassery of it all in that final act where he just comes in a cloak and he destroys everybody.
I mean that final part when he finally strings the bow again, like that's cinema.
Speaking
it absolutely is.
Yeah.
The music is so good.
That's classic Nolanism.
Do we think he has a decent shot of winning Best Actor for this movie?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's the thing.
I mean,
though,
we always have to see.
I don't know. It's been a struggle for me this year. Like, I liked Project Hail Mary. Obsession was great, but like none of those
Gosling's
movies...
not winning Best Actor. I'm not even sure.
He's not getting nominated.
He should be, but he's not getting nominated.
Which one?
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Why is it not getting nominated?
Because the Academy just does not vibe with that kind. They wouldn't take it seriously, I don't believe. And then when you consider the other kind of genre movies like the Odyssey or Dune, there may not be enough room.
They usually Obsession only pick gets a Best Picture at most to genre.
If Obsession gets a Best Picture nomination, I'm not sure Project Hail Mary would squeeze in there. That's the thing.
I loved Obsession.
No, but I mean, I mean, whatever.
I agree with you 100%. I don't know why people all decide to care that that's the one film we need to give a fuck about, but like Obsession's a good movie. It is not the best movie ever made, and yet people are already getting the Best Picture nomination campaign, Best Actress, Best everything, and I'm like, okay, calm down here, guys. Like, but that's just me.
No, I mean, like, I wouldn't be mad if like something like Obsession did get nominated for those things. It's just that for those ones, all the ones I mentioned, and this one, I haven't walked out of those movies going like, yes, these people deserve a nomination. The actors deserve a nomination. It's like, I don't know what it is. I just haven't been feeling that way with some of these movies.
That's a healthy mindset. We don't have to talk about Oscars yet, but people do, and it's like already just like we're having certain campaigns like lift off or like crash and burn. But here's an interesting performance I think we should acknowledge at this point, because I do think there is a lot of division about it, and that is also tied in with how people feel about the first 30 minutes. Now, generally speaking, it seems like most of us feel like the first 30 minutes of the film are slow or just not all that interesting. And you can't help but also remind yourself that in every single scene, for the most part, of those first 30 minutes is the Tom Holland of it all, which is at this point, a highly criticized performance. Some people feel like it was not up to snuff. I think he was fine. I don't think he was bad, but I do think that his inexperience at being in good movies kind of showed itself here, because every other actor, I think, was just much more believable. Maybe it was just I don't know if it was the voice that he was putting on. It didn't feel 100% real. I'm not going to go so far as to say that it was wooden or that it was just out of place, but he kind of just, I don't know. I think his performance in some aspects was not entirely lacking, but it didn't quite hit the mark. Again, maybe it's just that he hasn't been in as many movies. I mean, this is the first movie he's been in 5 years. The other one being Spider-Man.
I mean,
I don't know. To me, he really kind of like stood out in not the best way, and I feel that goes hand in hand with people not vibing so much with the first half hour.
I mean, with Tom Holland, out of all the things that people, have been saying, like, oh, this took me out of the movie, his was the one that took me out the most. And not because like he was bad in it. It was just that you hear his voice and like I'm automatically thinking Spider-Man, and it's just like, and it doesn't help that he's supposed to be playing some teenager and all that, and where he's 30 years old.
Mr. Odysseus, sir.
Yeah.
But he's not even supposed to be playing a teenager. He's supposed to be playing a little like.
Tell him that.
He admitted it actually. He admitted it in an interview that he thought he was playing a 16-year-old. And then they reveal it in the interview that, oh no, he was actually supposed to be like an 18, 19.
Supposed to be 20.
And Holland just like gives like a deer in the headlights expression like, oh, I played it younger. Oops.
He was gone 20 years and he was a baby at the beginning.
Oh, that's true.
I would say 20.
Well, maybe because that voice was so similar to his Spider-Man role, who's like playing a 16-year-old.
That's what I said. He's just playing the quintessential Tom Holland role.
Mm-hmm. And so like that, like his voice there kind of threw me off the most out of everything in that movie. But that one really, really good moment that he had with Odysseus when he figures out that that's his dad, I think he absolutely killed it. But like that's so far into the movie towards the end of it, and it doesn't help too that most of his lines is just him trying to get information. Like he like in the
Where
first
is it?
basically like he's just kind of trying to figure out like who his dad is, like what he should do in this situation and all that. And it's just like he's going back and forth with other people, giving him all sorts of information, and that's kind of what his character is. And so it's not really much he can do performance wise in that movie. But like I said too, like in that moment where he figures out who the stranger is, like that's his best performance in that entire movie, and he killed it.
There is a moment later on where this is after Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, gets under Robert Pattinson's skin. He gets kicked down, and then Tom Holland screams, "Enough! The feast is done." Where part of me was like, I don't know, that came across like you're really, really acting, not like you're delivering a performance here. Like he was like a little bit over the top, not like it came off cartoonishly, but I could see him act in that moment. Where like when you're genuinely like in the flow and you're acting, you kind of forget you're seeing an actor act and you're seeing the character. In that instance, and how he was screaming, it kind of like, oh yeah, I can. By the end of the film, I could see very much why people had an issue with that performance. But I also do agree with you, David. It's kind of a thankless task to be given a character where all he has to do is just ask questions, and yeah, that is part of the nature of what it is. So, but I mean, I do think he has the capability of being a great actor, but I do feel that this is the consequence of him picking terrible projects and not being really challenged all that much, or maybe challenged in wrong directions. But every other actor fit in here seamlessly, because basically every other actor in this film has had years, if not decades, of picking quality projects and working with quality directors. It was funny because in one of the press interviews, he and Matt Damon were together in an interview, and they were playing a game where they were, I guess their own filmographies based on a color. And whereas Matt Damon had films like Good Will Hunting or Interstellar or Talented Mr. Ripley or The Martian, then it came to Tom Holland, and all he had was like Spider-Man or Chaos Walking.
Yeah.
Or Uncharted, and it was just like, that kind of just says it all in that instance. And so, I mean, he's great at playing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the greatness
the best
that you
Spider-Man ever made.
Apparently, or that ever will be made until the next one actually happens. But like, when I see Tom Holland in his Spider-Man films, yeah, it works. Like that's a genuinely great performance. Here, I think you can kind of tell he was out of his element. It just didn't quite click in this movie.
Yeah.
So, the ending, though. Peter, you were saying that you don't believe it? That they didn't go off into the sunset? Or
I'm not saying I didn't believe it. I'm saying it's very clearly meant to be ambiguous.
Okay, so how do you feel?
Yeah, he dead. Now I hear the car.
Yeah, we heard that. That was very loud. That one was very, very loud. David, if you can write that down. where that was. That way, when I go in there, I can remove it because that was pretty bad.
I've written down 5 moments that the
little thingy went like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, put them if you can text those over to me so I can work on those. But okay, but generally, do we think he lived or did he die at the end?
I think he lived.
Odysseus.
I never saw it as ambiguous. But yeah, no, I thought he lived.
I think he just like went. Yeah, like I think he like just went off to live out his days elsewhere, and like eventually dies.
Yeah, and it's like I know there was like a lot.
I don't think it's like a Lord of the Rings type of thing where it's like they're off on the ship because they're dead.
But no, yeah, like I said, I didn't find it to be ambiguous. Yes, he had a lot of like a spear and some arrows stuck to him and all that. But I just figured
the stupid thing on his neck, I couldn't.
Oh yeah, the bandage on his neck was kind of funny. It's just like, okay, here's this. Yeah, he took some damage. Don't worry. It's just like, okay, you could have done better. Could have done some more and all that. But yeah, I think it was very clear that he survived it and just he went off into the sunset.
I would say because his remarks are very hopeful. Of like, yeah, shit's bad, but it'll come back around and it'll be fixed and da 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 da. But the last shot isn't a hopeful shot.
Yeah.
The last shot is Troy burning. So I think you could argue like, whoa, no, yeah, that's take it at what do you call it? At face value of that's what he said and that's what's going on. Or it could be a dying man with a lot of regrets, telling himself a good lie that maybe deep down he knows isn't even that true. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. I'm sure I'm wrong as far as officially, but I don't, because it doesn't seem like there's people arguing about the ending at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're reaching the end of this conversation. Is there anything else that people would like to bring up that hasn't already been?
Me.
Yes. Go ahead, David.
I really want to bring up the bullshit arguments of casting.
Please go ahead. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot to talk about that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it never mattered in the beginning, so that's why. And so, yeah, basically, people were complaining that there was a very diverse cast in this story that took place in Greece. It's a Greek mythology, and I mean, let's just start off with the other one. Did it bother you? Did it take you out of the movie that you saw a person of color in this Greek mythology movie? No,
I don't think.
No. Okay, yeah, it never took us out. Everyone who says that it did is they're just lying or straight up racist. I don't know. But and then what I didn't like though, people going like, oh, it's it's an old story. Who cares and all that. It's like I partially agree with you, but like there's more to it than that. This is an old story that has been told many, many times. I mentioned it to you guys, but a couple years ago there was an Odyssey story, an Odyssey movie that came out that had Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus, called The Return, and Peter explained to us that it's basically that third act in the Odyssey. Like that's
it's literally
it's all that movie
the
is.
Suitor's third act.
Nobody talked about it. I saw a trailer for it. Nobody reviewed it. Nobody talked about it. Even on their Odyssey reviews, they never brought it up. It just didn't happen. And then Ali mentioned Epic the Musical. That's been around for I think it's been a couple of years now. And it's very popular, and the guy who created it is trying to make it into an animated movie. So we're gonna get possibly another Odyssey story in the future. And so, my big question for anyone listening is that with this story being adapted over and over again, do you not want an opportunity for a person of color to be a part of this story? And it's the same thing for something like a Shakespeare
they don't.
play. Yeah, for like a Shakespeare play.
Here's the thing. I think technically, there is a worthy and interesting conversation to be had where it's like, well, when does it matter? right?
Mm-hmm.
How much does accuracy matter at all in these kinds of films? And when does accuracy in sort of heritage and historical background matter? I think that can be an interesting conversation.
For sure.
Especially with, it's not just these anti-woke people that are commenting, but in a different critique from a different source, Emily Wilson, who is the English language translator of the story, is also highly critiquing the movie, not for its casting, but for what she calls other kind of inaccuracies.
Mm-hmm.
So just to loop
it's
that in.
The only person with more hate in their heart than Alexis Soto.
You got to respect that, because that's a lot of hate.
To me, if it were intelligent people trying to have this conversation, you could argue like, okay, like let's have it, and I do think it would be very interesting. That's not what's happening. It's literally just the most racist people on the smallest corner of the internet,
the most
which also
transphobic
happen
people
to
as
be.
well.
Yeah, they just hate black people and trans people. That's literally what it is. I'm not saying if you personally have certain issues that you feel that way, but I'm saying the people that obsess over this shit, with this specific movie, I feel very confident saying
with people who make money on the internet,
they make money
entire
off of
platform is based off of this.
Elon
They're acting
Musk
in bad faith.
No,
exactly.
No, there's some YouTubers who are part of the anti-woke crowd who do love historical accuracy in movies, whether it's something like this or some story of a king in England or something like that, knights and all that and everything, who they care about historical accuracy. And like when they bring this up, it's like, okay, you know what, this is pretty consistent to this person. But with this movie specifically, like I said, this is a movie that's been told many, many times, and then now they're just arguing
foundational text.
Yeah,
I think that's what also, like, if I had to make an argument against, maybe let's say the good faith people that are like, well, it should be more accurate. As a foundational text, it's just one of those stories that has been so within the public zeitgeist that it almost moves. It's been told and retold and retold and retold in 50 million different ways that it's just kind of doesn't require it to be set within its even time period, background, really anything, right? It's like Romeo and Juliet. No one requires a historically accurate Romeo and Juliet. It's been such a foundational text that has moved sort of beyond that.
Yeah,
it's like West Side Story, right? No one lost their shit where it's like you're telling Romeo and Juliet, but it's in fucking all these brown people in the United States of America. Like, no, it's a different version where it's doing its own thing. And the Odyssey is just one of those stories, where it's like it's over 2,000 years old.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
You can find connections to it in everything.
Yeah.
So
and that's also why I'm saying, like, let people of color get an opportunity to tell a story like this. And it's just And so when they go about
it,
and especially when
Christopher Nolan.
But then when they go about the anti-woke crowd, go about it going like, oh, but if we take like a African mythology story and put some white people in it, you're all gonna be mad about it. It's like, has that story been told? Like, this is what we've been saying.
That's the thing.
Like, we want diverse stories. We want these stories to be told. And when it does happen, sometimes it just doesn't get the box office that it needed to, and then it just gets fucking ignored. And it's just like keeps happening over and over. There's a movie.
Also, this happens a lot because there'll be like films made in other regions of the world that then get an American remake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happened a lot with Westerns.
Yeah.
So many Westerns were just samurai films that Americans went yoink and
then just remove all the Asian people and make it American
and put it in the Old West and then so it's like it's just so obvious the agenda that's being pushed.
No, yeah, for sure. I was gonna say more, but I forgot.
I just say for me, it's like historical accuracy or inaccuracies. Every single movie that ever existed that is adapting history or a story, there are going to be inaccuracies because it is an adaptation, and I'm okay with that.
Well,
not every story has to be exactly a 1-to-1.
Absolutely.
And I will just say, to tell you, every single film in the last decade where we've had controversies of them gender swapping or race swapping or whatever kind of a character, I can't think of a single instance where that has happened and it's ever affected my enjoyment of whatever I was watching. What it has affected,
I'm trying to think of the time where I was like, actually bothered me.
Where it has come into play is my enjoyment of talking about these stories, because it always comes from the most putrid, disgusting pieces of shit imaginable on this planet. I do not care about you as a human being if it bothers you that black people or trans people have an opportunity to be in a movie. If that bothers you, get fucked.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I agree, and it really was just because Christopher Nolan made a movie. That's really all it is. That's all that they're bringing it up, and also too, when it comes to like accuracy, it mainly just depends on the artist himself. Like when I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking, yeah, this is exactly how Christopher Nolan would make the movie and all that. This is why something I got excited about Guillermo del Toro making a Frankenstein movie. It's like, is it accurate to the actual book? Is it accurate to like other interpretations that have been shown and all that? No, but I love it.
But that's where I'm like, that's an interesting conversation though. Like, what is actually important about the story to like keep, right? Because I also saw a lot of people. Can we use
that about the gods though? Were the gods important? And also, do we? I mean, the gods are very present in the movie, are they not? Do we not feel that way? I mean.
Not in a physical sense.
Not in a physical sense.
Well, what about? Sure. What about Odysseus conveniently crossing the ocean to get back to Ithaca?
I mean, that's what we're saying.
That's why I said not in a physical sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're present, not in physical. And
everyone, the film acts as if they're real. I'll put it that way. I don't think there's ever a point that it comes off where, well, I guess, is Athena real? Is she not? Right? Whatever. Everything up to that point is played pretty straight, right? Like
Calypso.
Well, they literally go to hell. Like,
yeah.
If hell's real, I'm kind of thinking the rest of the gods are real too. Like, I don't know. To me, it's played pretty straight. You just never physically see them. And this is another. I don't know if it's a criticism, but it's true. It is a very like. Western Christian modern view of these events. Like in the olden time, gods were very physical. Like, what do you call it? Like the morals were very different at that point. And that the whole religious aspect of the Greek gods were very different than Jesus and the Christian God and all of that. Jesus, again, this is very funny. He was the woke God. He was the one who's like, hey, maybe might doesn't make right. So it is a very different view, right? Like with this movie, it's a very much like gods are sort of felt in the way they move the earth versus them physically coming down and having a conversation with you, which is all the Greek stories.
They actually have a moment between them, Zendaya and Matt Damon, because Matt Damon complains how come the gods never reveal themselves, and then Zendaya was like, well, who moves the sun or who moves the water? They literally have that verbatim conversation in the movie. So is there no room to think that's actually Athena? Or are we just meant to?
No, I think there's a lot of room to think that's actually Athena. I think it works better if it's not.
Yeah.
Right. It was just a random like Troy citizen that was decapitated and then being the embodiment of like Odysseus's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think even that conversation works, right? Because he's like questioning everything, and he's kind of Athena's kind of him arguing back and forth. He's like, well, the fact that this is happening, is that not evidence of the God? I can't imagine that. That's kind of like Athena's just kind of another side of his
psyche
arguing back with him.
Especially because he only.
But if you believe she's real, I think it works too.
And I mean, I think that it's all in his head and all that, especially because he very much always tells his people, just don't believe in the gods, don't pray to the gods, like they won't do anything for you. And then they call him out. It's like, you've been praying to Athena, dude. And it's just like, I'm not really, but
he's kind of a hypocrite.
I'm not really talking to her. I just like, I'm just feeling guilty and all that. That's basically what he's doing. So yeah.
Well, I just say, as we near the ending of this discussion, I do appreciate, again, what the film is going for and what it's trying to communicate to the world, that war is horrible. War is the destruction of humanity. And the way that human beings have always treated each other is barbaric. Unfortunately, people don't want to hear that message. And to some, they see Israel in their dreams. And again, I guess might does make right. And I guess that is what makes the world go round, right? Like that's just part of human nature, and it never seems to dissipate. And I am hopeful that, some people who watch the film kind of get that message. I mean, it is funny though, David. It's like, of course, like all these dishonest, people, whether it be the anti-woke crowd or MAGA, or like complaining about like the superficial casting choices. None of them seem to be gluing into the message of the film, the very anti-war message, which is very woke in my point of view. And I guess there's been no mention of that, has there, from those people?
I would argue it's not an anti-war film. It's an anti breakdown of societal norms film.
Okay.
I'd say the war part wasn't the issue. It was,
well, sure, it was the way that they won
horse.
the war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No honor, no code, just like pure barbarism, I guess.
Because I think the movie also very much looks down on the cowardly, that had no honor.
Yeah. Absolutely,
like the suitors and stuff like that.
And also, I mean, I don't know if it's some, I guess, Christian undertones in it's very much part of like Greek lore, I guess. But I really did take notice of how, I guess, according to Zeus's law, the insistence on hospitality, and then also the insistence of, treating beggars, the lowly among us, with respect and decency. Unlike certain societies, shall we say, that exist today, which do not take too kindly to the unhoused.
That's what I think is so funny, because it's very Christian in its morals, and that's why a lot of the Christians are like, this movie's woke, I don't like it. And it's like, interesting.
It's like holding up a mirror.
Yeah. That's why. And it's funny because I think there are some conservative commentators who are like, you guys are crazy. Like, this is very this should be like a conservative. I'll just say it. There's nothing in this film that doesn't 100% comply with what would be like a regular conservatives. It should be a win for them. It's a badass white dude who comes back to save his family, his wife, from a bunch of soy boy, loser men or whatever. Like,
made by
there's a lot
director.
of angles they can take, but they just, trans people exist, so they gotta throw a fit.
That basically sums it up. Any final thoughts from anybody about anything?
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna make all the money.
It is very much so. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate all your thoughts. It was so nice to see everybody here for one episode. I guess we'll see you next year, whenever that happens. Stay under our spotlight for more content and more, because next time on the show, we're going to go all in for Spider-Man. Apparently, it's a brand new day. I'm not so sure about the rest of Marvel, but that'll be what we get back to on the next episode. Thank you all so much again. Stay under our spotlight, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.